All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. First thing we're starting with here is the Nasdaq, and as you can see, we basically have been raging overnight. We came to a little dip of the 1807 level. This is a level that Jay's been really mentioning in Discord, and it goes way back to when we kind of had our previous run up in this range, so very much worth mentioning. But a few things I want to talk about before we jump in here. Let me turn a few of these indicators on so you can see. But number one, your volume, man, is low. You have some low volume here on the day and kind of over the past few days. So we've been moving up with some pretty low volume, okay? Now, one thing that I will highlight is that you don't need to have crazy volume. You don't have to have crazy volume to the upside or to the downside. You just expect a surge of volume at lows or a reversal point or a breakout. For instance, down here at lows, you had your highest volume right there. You reverse back to the upside. Now, volume has been declining, which was one of the reasons we were looking for that bear flag going on there, okay? And ultimately, from FOMC, we started moving back up. But when we look at what's happening here, we're operating pretty nice right now. I mean, honestly. So we're holding up. There's a few points we do want to talk about before we go too far, though. Is you're holding up pretty well. You made a Lux level down here again. But on the other side of this, too, sellers cannot step in, especially during market hours. Right? We dip into, market open, and then we bounce right back up, and we kind of sit flat for the rest of the day. That's a good note for me. We're operating well above the 2021 high as well now. Those are good notes. I go and look at ES, and I think ES looks decent. It's sitting at our resistance near 52.13. We need to get above that level to get continuation. I will also say, though, you're just sitting inside of the range we've been discussing. There's no real clear breakout. You're just operating in a sideways trend here. Now, to get bullish, you want to see a break above this or retest and then pushing up, and you have room almost into 52.48 to 52.58. You have a lot of room back to the upside. So things we're looking at there. You go to the Dow. Again, an area that hasn't really been the strongest, but the Dow is probably the best performer on the day, right? A lot of Lux levels getting established, a lot of support down here now, pushing back up. This is what you like to see. Trying to get the breakout of 39.2. Now, that's a pretty interesting level, and this is probably one area that I kind of been slacking on the past few days is how the Dow's been moving, right? You look at the Dow, and look, you're trying to get back up. You can start, if you get back in this range above 39.25, you can start pushing back into 39.7. So there's real room there, maybe a little bit of a sector rotation here on the day. You go into DXY, risk on versus risk off. What's happening here? We look at this action. Again, DXY, little weakness here on the day. Still kind of trending sideways, but things get more interesting when we look at what's happening with yields, right? Yields continue to kind of get that break to the downside. We've been talking a lot about this. You broke up through our level, coming back into it, want to see a rejection and push back down towards the 200 SMA. Those are things that we want to see on the broad market right now. And so those are headed kind of in the right direction. On the other side, Bitcoin is breaking below 64K like we anticipated. Downside from that level, break, a retest, and continuation so far. Those are the big things on the market. Now, really quick, let's go into one thing.
And now let's briefly talk about my favorite investing app and the sponsor of today's video. If you're interested in trading the exact same broker in which I'm using for options and what I'm doing market research on, this is exactly who I'm using. This is Mumu. This is their platform on their desktop. You can also check it out for the mobile app as well. This is their live news feed. And if you're thinking about making the switch right now, is a pretty good time because right now they're doing a 1.5% cash reward up to $300 if you transfer in. Or if you're just getting started and you want to kickstart your journey, Mumu is giving you 5 in each of the Magnificent 7 stocks when you make a qualified bonus. You can go down and scroll and see all of this. It's right there on their website. Check them out. The link is down below.
Okay, so now as we go into tomorrow, few things across the board. We haven't had much news this week or any data coming out, but now we do going into tomorrow morning. Jobless claims. You want to see higher jobless claims. You want to see reasons, some logic to see unemployment going up. We need to see unemployment rise. We've seen how that positively affects the market. If jobless claims drop, then I anticipate a little bit of selling on the beginning of the day. That'll come out an hour before market open, so make sure you're watching that. You also have the 30-year bond auction. I think it's going to be very short term. I always say this, bond auctions are just immediate action, and then you kind of just go the opposite way after that. So nothing huge, a little bit of Fed members as well. Fed balance sheet, that's going to be bullish in my opinion because they're reducing that down to 25 billion from 60 billion. So that's good news as well. And Friday, you have some Fed speakers and then Michigan expectations, which we'll talk about that tomorrow. But again, tomorrow, biggest thing is that hour before market open, jobless claims. Now, again, really quickly, SPY, Qs, what are we looking at here? Again, these levels have been here on SPY. So SPY is number one. We talked about the break above 512, pushing into 516, 518. That's where we're at now. Now, next level here, next man up, okay? You can see how Lux level that was established here on the 1 hour specifically. You can really see it, right? A little bit more range there, Okay, so you can see how that's established, right there. So you're coming into that resistance, getting rejected off it. If you mount 518.2, I think you break through it with ease. Also, too, if you're interested in the Lux indicators that we have, our volume, our levels, everything like that, there's some oscillators as well, but I don't use them. The link is down below. Use code OD40 for 40% off. But so far, so good. You're holding up very well on SPY. You go into Qs, that 532 level, we talked about it. You mounted above it. You broke the level here, mounted above it, pushed into 440. Next level after 440 is near 447.5. You have a little Lux level there as well, kind of validating what we're looking at there. Those are things that interest me and things that you have to be focused on in the short term, but I still think you look good. But what are we looking for here? Confirmation, break, retest, continuation. That's what we want to see. If the job data comes in good, I think we can get some of that continuation into tomorrow with ease, with ease. Okay, that's what we're looking at there. Now, going in a little bit further into the market, okay? We talk a lot about stocks we like to trade. If you're not following on Twitter, I recommend doing so. The link is down below, but I go over a lot of charts, things I'm liking, Fed updates, things along those lines, right? I try to keep you guys posted as much as possible, okay? But make sure you check that out. Stocks we like. Number one, Robinhood had earnings and they beat as expected. They beat kind of across the board. It couldn't get any. Let's actually reduce the volume so we're a little bit cleaner here. But yeah, so they smashed earnings. Subscriber count up on Robinhood Gold. I think they have over 1 million users ready for the credit card and on the waiting list. New deposits are up. I believe their crypto revenue was like through the roof. You can literally see here really quick. Robinhood. I know Evan was posting about it earlier. So Evan, really quick. Let's just go down. And again, Twitter's a great way to see all this news, guys, when it comes out. ARMM reported as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But right here. Yeah, so they smashed expectations. I don't know if it could have gone that much better. So keep an eye on it. Definitely interesting. Definitely good. Really bullish on Robinhood. Still think it's easily a $20 to $25 stock, in my opinion. ARM, this is probably the biggest opportunity across the board, in my opinion. They beat earnings, okay? They did not miss on EPS or revenue. They beat handsomely on revenue. So I still want ARM to dip. I don't know if it's going to dip. I don't know if it is, but I'm praying on it to dip because I become a buyer. My first stop on the buys will be near $80 to $81. I will be buying stock. I'll be buying down there, okay? At the gap fill, we had that monster run. We all remember that. I think ARM is a good looking name. I like what it's doing. I like the sector, and I will be looking to buy, and they've still killing earnings. That's what you want to see. So some downside there. Likely, again, you have a little bit of a bear flag that's kind of being validated by what's happening with the earnings and the drop off there. So that's hopefully what we will see, some downside action towards the $80, $81 level for some buying opportunity, hopefully. Okay, other names out there. Meta is like the gift that just keeps on giving. One of the scalps we had here on the day. Shout out to Jay for calling this one out. I was loving it too, but Jay just gave the confirmation today. So we pushed into our level around 473.4 into those previous lows. You start getting above 473.4, I think you could really start pushing into 479. That's my honest opinion. You look very good, and you're mounting all of our levels. You mounted the previous. Now you're trying to mount the next one. So again, very good there. Netflix is like the gift that it's literally like Santa Claus every day. We've been talking a lot about Netflix. We called it out way down here at 576, break, retest, continuation, almost $50 of upside. Congratulations if you caught that one. Again, guys, what's the story here is you're getting dips on these earnings, okay? This is what I live for. This is why I'm praying for ARM right now, because you get earnings and you have them drop after they smash on revenue, smash on EPS, and it's not even necessarily guidance that brings them down. Like ARM's guidance wasn't great. That's why they dropped. But like Netflix and Meta, great looking names, right? And they had great earnings to back it up. So again, value. You make your money. I say this all the time. Earnings season, everyone wants to trade into earnings and trade the earnings. Not me, guys. I like trading after the earnings. That's where I make my money, is trading after earnings. Okay, so that awesome setup. We love to see it. Looks really good. Now, there's a lot of names that are getting at these breakout levels, okay? Like, I think one that we need to start talking heavily about here is Amazon, okay? It's moving its way up to the tippity top of Tyler's list. I'm going to tell you that right now. You look interesting, okay? I like what's happening up here. You're just consolidating at highs. The second really what you want to see here, this yellow line right here is your 2021 high, 188.7. You mount that level, I think you have room realistically into 195, possibly even to 200 over the next few months. I'm being dead serious. So again, I love Amazon. I love what they're doing. Their earnings have been incredible. They haven't had a bad earnings in what feels like weeks. I'm sorry, a year and a half since like 2022. Maybe two. That's 2 years now. It's crazy. 2 years now, right? I love what Amazon's doing. Big fan. Love it. And I think over 188.7, it's a long. AMD semiconductors as a whole, very interesting. AMD though, I'm going to tell you right now, everyone's interested. If you get downside, I'd like to short AMD. I'm looking to go long when you break back above the 164 level here, your 2021 previous all-time high. So again, you want to see a mount of that level. Until then, I cannot go long there. Everyone's obsessed with NVIDIA here, but I have a play, special plays for special traders, special viewers, special subscribers. You're welcome. 1320. You are mounting this level. I love AVGO here. You've been consolidating since what is this? Since February? February in a box. Look at that. Just sitting in a box for almost 4 months now. I love it. Gotta love this name here, guys. Gotta love it. Over 320, room into 390. So target 1, around 350, 355. Target 2, 382 to 391. That's what I'm looking at. I love AVGO. Big money play here, and I really think this could start to get a breakout with some of these earnings. Because remember, we've had a lot of earnings lately, but guess who hasn't reported? That dog we all know and love, NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA, you saw some sellers step in today, hold you under 906. Again, the levels, you're welcome for these level guys. If you don't have these levels on a sticky note on your monitor, I don't know what you're doing. So one, we have a Lux level established there, but 906, key level, rejection. Just sitting there getting rejected so far. Where do we get bullish? Say it on repeat. 924 break and retest. That's what we want to see. I like NVIDIA, but you got to wait for that break and retest. You also have earnings in like 2 weeks. So again, head on a swivel. Looks good. Looks interesting. Big fan here. But again, got to break out for me to get excited, for me to want to trade this thing. I'm not overcomplicating it. We're sticking to the plan. Okay, guys? So that's all I'm looking at right now. I might have missed a name. I might have missed a name or two. I don't even know. But I'm having a good day, having a good time. I appreciate you guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow.